there was kind of a stigma with the football players. It was like, all right, these guys are just like idiots. You know what I mean? Like they don't even know how to speak or do anything like that. I've always been good at voices and stuff like that, like impressions and characters. And I remember doing like the movie guy voice, like,
are you ready? One man, one solution this summer.
Yo, let's go, baby. It's Robbie G. Woo!
What's up, everybody? It's Freddie Stevenson from Trials of Triumph. I just want to thank everybody that supported last week's episode with Fransley. And of course, I want to thank our sponsors, Concord Coffee, Garnet and Gold, Indie Atlantic Films, and the Craig Burt Real Estate Group. But that's enough of me talking. Let's get into this next episode. We have a dope guest joining us, actor Laith Wallschleger. He has an amazing story, and he tells us about his journey in Hollywood. Make sure you tap in because this is guaranteed to be a great one. What's up, man?
Good to be here, bro.
Man, appreciate you. It's been a while. We've been trying to make this happen literally
yeah.
since last year, but like we talked about off camera, it's a blessing. Like that just shows how busy you've been. Like that's one thing that's great in your industry, to stay busy. So it's definitely, a blessing. But I'm glad that we're finally able to make it happen, man.
Yeah, bro. I don't think I've ever been to Lakeland before. It's nice here.
Yes, it's solid. It's solid.
Cool. Yeah.
Low key.
Yeah.
Nice low key area. A lot going on. A lot more than people realize. Country area, but we got a lot going on.
Sweet, man.
But how have you been?
I'm good, dude. I'm really good. Been a busy year, especially with, it's kind of crazy. The entertainment industry has got a lot of stuff going on lately, so it's good to be gainfully employed.
Yeah.
So I can't complain. Gosh, I just I'm trying to think, what can I talk about? I just filmed a feature in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
You ever been out there before?
Never.
Oh, it's
never.
Cool,
I've heard it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice. I was there. I had a nice little Airbnb, and out of either side you could see like the mountain range, and there's like, because in Florida we never get freaking snow, so it's like there's snow-capped mountains. It was cool, man. Went up to like Park City and got to a bunch of people ski up there. They had like the Winter Olympics there a while back, but it was cool, man. Cool new place. Yeah, got to see the Utah Jazz play too. That was fun.
Okay.
I don't think they're doing too good
not
this
year at all.
Yeah.
Once they lost all those players, they haven't been good since, man. But hopefully they figure it out.
But yeah, it was cool.
But you come from a sports background, correct?
Yeah. I used to play football. I played at the University of Delaware for 4 years. It's where not a lot of people know that school, but Joe Flacco went there. Yeah. Rich Gannon went there.
Y'all have like the similar helmets to the Wolverines, right?
Yeah, we ripped off Michigan, and Princeton too. But yeah, so I played there for 4 years, and then I went to mini camp with the Arizona Cardinals. My D coordinator from Delaware was he was coaching safeties under Bruce Arians. This was like 2014. It was a while back. And then it did really well, but just came down to a numbers thing. And so I went to play arena football, played in Jacksonville for the Sharks, and then the Arena Football League is wild. Like every other year it'll fold. I mean?
I've seen teams that were there when I was younger, then they disappeared for a while, and now they're back.
Yeah, we when I showed up, they had just won the Arena Bowl.
Okay.
And like I think 5 games into the season, it was like we haven't been paid, and so the guys were like, we don't have to go out there and play the game, but we decided to go out and play anyway. But it's like that rocky, man.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
I heard the situation about Antonio Brown, his arena team. I guess he wasn't paying them.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent. It was wild, man, my experience there, because I only played 6 games of my senior season because I was coming off of an ACL, and then I ACL and meniscus, and then I re-injured myself in rehab. So it was brutal, man. Whenever you get like an injury within an injury, it just like really compounds the healing process. So yeah, I only played 6 games, and you're coming out of a Division I AA. It's like, nobody's gonna freaking take a chance on someone like that. Like, why would you, right? So I was like, okay, let me go to arena football and get some film, so I can, maybe get in a training camp or just like stay in the game. At least I'm doing something, right? And it was wild, dude. I was one of 2 rookies to make the team. It's like a 22 to 24 man roster. I think it's 8-on-8, I'm pretty sure, because you got like 3 linemen, quarterback, and then either 3 or 4 wide receivers. Quarterback, running back, and then 3 wide receivers. So yeah, 8-on-8, and we had the best fullback running back of all time. He like broke all the arena records, and he was a wild guy. But arena football, it will test your love for the game. And I mean that in the sense of, we practiced at a middle school. We got taped out of the back of a U-Haul truck. Our team meetings were in an apartment complex. They like rented out an apartment, and then all these guys are like grown-ass men, and they have kids. So it was like, in one of the rooms, it was like daddy daycare. Everyone would bring their kids to the meeting. And then we would get these, it was like little food coupons to like IHOP and Denny's and stuff like that to eat for free throughout the week. And they gave us like a gym membership and stuff like that to the local gym. And it was like that. I lived with the trainer. We lived in the hood in Jacksonville, like right across the street from JU. And I lived with him, but I found these before it was with the trainer. I was living with this couple that I found on Craigslist. I'm talking like I rented a room, and there were roaches all over the carpet. They had like 3 huge dogs, so it stunk of dogs the whole time. And then I had like an hour commute to practice, but that lasted a month before I moved in with the trainer, so it was nice. But yeah, dude, it was wild, man. The first time I ever stepped foot on an arena football field was my first game, because like these AFL owners, they don't own the arena, right? And during the summer, you got all these concerts and stuff in there, so it's the field is not just sitting there, right? They're repurposing the arena and stuff. So we played the LA Kiss for our first game, and that was the first time I ever stepped foot on an arena football league field. And it's like AstroTurf carpet, which is so sharp, like it's been known to scratch dudes' tattoos off. It's freaking nuts. And then another thing that they do, they put ads on the field, which are like, feel like this. So you'll be running full speed on the field, go to plant and hit an ad, and you blow your knee out, man. And then there's a hockey wall surrounding it, right? So you'll have wide receivers running as fast as they can and just getting boom, like slammed into the wall. And then every now and then your quarterback, we had like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, they throw like the ball out of bounds and it would like freaking nail one of the fans. Man. Sitting in the low row. So it's a very treacherous sport, you know?
How did you feel going from being in camp with Arizona and you get to see this nice facility and you're getting all this free food, top-notch food, and now you're in the arena, good. Like you got to pay for your own meals now?
Well, technically, we were still getting them for free. It's just the quality was vastly diminished. Like I said, it will test your love of the game. And I don't know. Everyone has that crisis when you don't see the next path in your football journey. and you just try and hang on, you know what I mean? Because I still felt like I had football to play, because I came in with the Cardinals in minicamp, and for the first time I changed my mentality on the field to the point where it was like, I don't care who you are, whether you're a first round draft pick or you've been on the team for years, like, I'm gonna fucking take your heart. Like it's because you get one shot, right?
Yeah.
And there was just no other options. And I remember in college, like, so many times I would kind of psych myself out of the game, kind of building my opponent up greater than he was. So this is the first time where I was just like, you know, we're letting it fly. I don't care. And I was killing dudes. I was doing great. And Coach Rapone, my old D coordinator at Delaware, he was like, yeah, you know, everybody really liked you. They wanted to sign you. And it just came down to numbers. So, you know, I was like, so that gave me hope. Like, okay, I belong here. I can play here, because I was going against first round draft picks and like beating the crap out of them. So, you know, it gives you a lot of confidence, right? And so I was like, okay, let me just go to arena football, get some film, and, you know, I'll just stay ready in case anyone gets injured. And nobody got injured that year, you know, in training camp at least. So I didn't get that opportunity. So, you know, just kind of hanging on. And I don't know, it got to a point my second year where the Jacksonville Sharks folded. And then I got picked up in a supplemental draft by the Washington Valor, the DC team. And I don't know, I just like, I looked up and I saw one of the wide receivers for our team. He was like an Arena Football League legend. His name was T.T. Tolliver. And he's like 44 years old. And he's playing arena football. And I'm just like, I don't think I want to do that, you know? And like, I was playing defensive end, and you're like smashing your face into 360-pound offensive linemen every day. And I was like, for like $500 a game, you know what I mean? It's like, what am I doing? So I just, I did not love the game.
So from there, how did you get into acting?
So from there, yeah, it was like, all right. You know, it was the first time in training camp I had ever partied during training camp, right? I just like, I don't know. I didn't, you know, I was very strict on myself during the season. You know, I trained my ass off. I did all the right things. And I was just like, I don't know. Like the love kind of left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I didn't see the path for myself anymore. So, you know, I went out, I was hanging out with I was in like DC, Maryland area, and all my family's from there. So I was like hanging out with my cousin over the weekend, we were partying and stuff like that. And I remember this first week of training camp, I was balling out. I was killing it. And then second week, I got sick and I didn't go to practice because I was sick, which is, you know how it is. You go to practice no matter what. And I don't know. I found myself wanting to quit, but I don't know. I couldn't quit, right? I needed to be cut. And so thankfully they cut me, they brought me in. They were like, hey, I don't know what happened. You know, you were on fire the first week, and then the second week, you know, I don't know, you just kind of fizzled out. And I was like, yeah, you know, that's how it goes, but I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me. And he's like, well, we'll give you a call if anything comes up. And I was like, it's okay, don't worry about it. And, you know, eventually they did call, and at that point I was already on to the next thing. Basically what I did was, you know, I have always been good at voices and stuff like that, like impressions and characters. And you know, I remember doing like the movie guy voice, like,
are you ready? One man, one solution this summer.
You know, like stuff like that, right? Messing around. And so I wanted to become a voice actor, right? And anything to not get a real job. You know, like once you get out of sports, the last thing you want to do is go and work in a cubicle, because like athletes were just wired different, man. We got to move. We got to like have new stimulus every day. Like going into a cubicle is like being a caged animal,
Yeah.
right? You can't do it. So anything to avoid being a real job. I always said my goal was I'm going to try and make it to the NFL. If that kind of like falls through, I'm going to be a voice actor. And then if that falls through, I guess I would use my degree, you know?
I want to take the time out to say thank you to our sponsor, Garnet and Gold, the premier FSU store. If you're looking for anything from hats, shirts, shoes, or even gear for your child, this is the premier store to get your gear. Florida State fans, lock in because it's going to be a great ride this season. But before we get rolling, make sure to get your gear from gardenandgold.com.
So that was like my third backup plan. So I went to, I put like $4,000 into the school. It was called Such a Voice, and I had a coach that taught me everything, how to do this stuff. And I started out, man, I was doing I didn't go the traditional route. I was doing $5 voiceover gigs out of my cousin's closet, just like messing around and exploring and stuff like that. And eventually I built up my list of clients and kind of created a reel from there for, doing stuff for real companies. And, it built from there, but that started like 2016, So, and then from there I was still living in DC with my family. And my friend from high school, his dad had a production company, and he was like, hey, we're doing this short film, like, why don't you come audition? And I was like, dude, I'm not an actor, man. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And he's like, just come read. And of course, with everybody's story, they always get their first audition, right? Yeah. I freaking got it. And we filmed it, and, it was a short film, right? You know how it goes. And, but I was like, okay, well, if I learn how to act, I guess it'll make me a better voice actor. So why not do both? That was my whole outlook on it. And from there, I got involved with game-changing films. Boom, plug. And you know them very well. You've worked with them many times. And I, coming off of arena football after making my first $1 million, no. I was broke as shit, right? And I didn't want to get a real job, right? So anything to avoid that, I remember the first football movie I did with them was back in 2016. It was called It's Time, a movie that was a straight to DVD success.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, right? For good reason. I later came to find that a lot of people never got paid for their work on that. Yeah, one of those. Oh, man. But it filmed in Jackson, Mississippi. So I remember driving my piece of crap Hyundai from Tampa to Jackson, and getting there, I drove through the night so I didn't have to get a hotel. I was so broke. And I slept in my car for a couple hours, and then we did rehearsals and stuff like that. And I met a guy on set who lived there, and me and the quarterback in the movie, we lived in his basement for 3 weeks and filmed that movie. And I remember on the off days, I would go to a local hotel and just steal their free breakfast so I could eat. And that's how it started, man. That was 2016. And then from there, I came back. So, you've heard of Full Sail University? It's the film school in Orlando. I would do student films with them. And starting a film career in Orlando, Florida, it's not ideal. There's not a lot going on here, you know what I mean? Besides Disney, if you wanted to be a Disney character or whatever, sure, there's a lot of opportunities, but for a film actor, it's tough. It's tough here. So I just did a bunch of student films, and I met a director on one of those films, and he told me about the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. They go around the country holding auditions and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. I went to their open house. They had like a dance and movement class. Like, acting's weird, man. It's very weird. So they had my big ass in there doing all that stuff. And they were like, yeah, if you want to audition, just come back. This was Friday. Come back Monday and bring a couple monologues, one dramatic, one comedic. And I was like, okay. What's a monologue? I didn't even know what that meant. So I don't know, I picked 2 random ones, and I spent that whole weekend like memorizing them and just getting ready to perform. Like I didn't know anything about acting, or it was just like raw. And I went in there, did my thing, and it was good enough. And I remember prior to that, have you ever heard of like the Mark Campbell Trophy Summit?
I haven't.
It was like, I got an award in college for, it was like for those athletes who played a lot and also got good grades. You're eligible for the National Football Foundation scholarship or whatever, and the best guy gets the Mark Campbell Trophy. And so they put me into that list of alumni, and every year they would fly us out to Stanford to like meet these guys like Charlie Ward and Steve Young and some other big guys who are like, you know, professionals in other fields now, right? These are just like the smartest football guys and stuff like that. So I remember getting a list of their emails for networking, and I was so broke, man. I was like, how am I going to pay to go to drama school? And so I emailed all of them on the list, you know, like kind of pitching them like, hey, like sponsor a young athlete who's trying to like, you know, do something great, you know, and go to school and stuff like that. And I must have sent out like over 100 emails, and nobody responded to me. I got nothing. So I was on my own. So I literally spent my life savings, and I went to drama school for summer session. This is 2018. And it was weird. It was like going back to high school, because I was like an older guy. I think I was 26. And all these kids are like 17, 18 years old, you know, going there for the summer on daddy's money and stuff like that. And I'm like broke as shit trying to make it, you know what I mean? And so it wasn't a game for me. I kind of approached it the same way as the NFL. And it was like sink or swim. And I met my acting coach there. He was a guest coach, and I got involved in the football community in LA, because as you know, football shoots more than any sport by far in America. So there were so many opportunities. And I remember my first commercial I did with State Farm, and I made like $3,000, and I was like that's more than I made in an entire arena football season, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, like this is awesome, you know? And my cousin came to visit me out there. He was a professional wrestler. Like at one point we partied with this guy, Ryan Phillippe. He's a big actor, and like going to his house and seeing, you know, his home in the Hollywood Hills looking over LA. I was like, whoa, like, is this what it's like? You know, obviously, no, that's not what it's like. He's a 1%er. But I was like, wow, okay, I can make a living doing this. And so I got connected with my acting coach in school, did the 2 months, I made all my best friends there in drama school, which is great, because when you go out to LA, they say your friends become your family, which is true, because your family ain't coming out to LA with you. So, and all my family was in Florida, so that's a long way from home. I was on my own out there. And my buddy, his house had flooded, so I literally lived in his hotel room in Santa Clarita on the other mattress for like 2 months, just kind of like getting my feet wet, learning the lay of the land, auditioning. I got an agent out there who was like an athletic agent, and so I would go out for like, you know, the football commercials and stuff like that because it was hot. And that's kind of how I got ingratiated with LA. And eventually I went back to Florida, packed up all my stuff, and I moved out there full time March of 2019, like literally a year prior to the pandemic. Oh. Yeah. So sorry, that's a long-winded answer to your question.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Kind of gives me a foundation, like, and from there, when did you like get your first role in the industry where you're like, man, I can actually make a splash in this industry?
Still waiting for that one. No, I'm kidding. So the first year I got there, I booked 3 national commercials, mm-hmm. which is really big as like a first time actor. Like it's huge, great money. And I remember being in the room with you remember Ballers?
Yeah.
The guy who was the D lineman for Ballers. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, he was he had that friend that was trying to take all his money and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I see him in the audition room for like, I don't know, I think it's like a DirecTV commercial. Mm-hmm. Eventually we filmed it like with Pat Mahomes. And he's in the audition room, and I just approached it with that same mindset. Like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to act like a football player. And you know how it is. You're like, you're jacked up, you're calling stuff out, and you're just going. And it's like this was back in the day when it was in-person auditions before COVID. And it was just 5 of us in there. And they were like, all right, you're getting ready for the play. And you're just, you know, you're about to step on the field and stuff like that. And go. And so it was like 100%. Like, you can't hold back, you can't be embarrassed. Yeah. And I got it. Yeah. And so like that little success, it gives you confidence. But I remember my first year, man, I was just I was so freaking hell bent on making it, because it was sink or swim out there. I was on my own. You know, and it's tough to make it in the entertainment industry. And I never got a waiter job or anything like that. I was so blessed enough to make all of my money within the craft. I would do all the commercial auditions. I would do voiceover in my closet. Like, I had a little walk-in closet where it would get like 110 degrees in there, but I'd be working in there all day doing voiceovers. I'd work on the radio. I don't know if you ever listened to radio stations where it was like, you know, the DJ calls you up. He's like, hey, we got these free flower bouquets. Is there anyone that you'd like to send it to? And of course, it's never their wife. And then, you know, they come on and they're like, what the hell? You know, I was those guys. Like, those are actors who do that stuff. Oh, that's nice. So I would do that stuff. Frickin' anything, like stunt work, background work, all that stuff. And then I would be in class twice a week for 4 hours at a time. And just because I didn't know, you know, like, I never did acting or anything. I think I did like Jailhouse Rock when I was in 3rd grade at the church or whatever. You know, but like, you know, I'm a football player. You know, that's all I know how to do. So I had to learn this thing from the ground up, and I was just so hungry. And my acting coach that I met at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, his name's Clay Banks. He was huge in the 90s. He made like millions of dollars in commercials. He led his own TV show. And I'm a big proponent in success leaves clues, right? So I was like, okay, let me just do everything that he tells me to do, and I'll be just like that, you know? but I didn't realize at the time, like, your own path in the entertainment industry, everyone's path is just so, like, you know, winding, and you have no idea where it's going to lead you and stuff like that. So but yeah, he was kind of like my father figure out there, and he was able to create a lot of great community in his acting studio, and kind of, you know, I met a lot of my friends there, So it was good.
We would like to thank Craig Burke Real Estate Group for sponsoring this episode of Trials of Triumph. Whether you're a first-time home buyer searching for your dream home, a seller aiming to maximize your home's equity, or an investor seeking a prime opportunity, partnering with a dedicated real estate professional can make all the difference. Your real estate goals are their top priority. The Craig Burke Real Estate Group is committed to providing unmatched customer service, and they are genuinely driven to help you achieve your property goals. As your go-to resource for all your real estate needs, they offer a proven marketing plan for sellers, ensuring that your property is widely promoted across major real estate platforms and paired with exceptional negotiation skills. For buyers, they diligently analyze the local markets and trends to help you find the perfect home at the right price. If you're looking for a positive and helpful partner ready to provide exceptional service, make sure to reach out to the Craig Burke Real Estate Group. Right now, I promise you, they will not disappoint. What was it like being on the set of the hit show All American?
Brutal. Like, how do I explain this? No, it was cool. But like, I was a stunt guy, right? I'd been doing stunts with them since season 1. And of course, all football shoots at night, right? Which means you're doing a night shoot. So we get there, at like 5 p.m. I don't know if you've ever been to LA, but traffic is brutal. It's brutal. And so we're hitting massive traffic to get there to work. And then we're doing our thing. Usually they feed us lunch right there, and then we get ready to go, or breakfast, even though it's in the afternoon. And we kind of rehearse the plays, and then normally how it goes is they do a lot of the dialogue in the like sideline dialogue in the middle of the night. So we're laying around until like freaking 3 a.m. And then all of a sudden they'll go, all right, we're up, football, let's go. And we are doing the same play. This is why if you watch some football on TV, it doesn't always look that great, because these poor guys are doing the same play 50 times. And if you're not the main action, you know, like if you're doing a stunt, a big tackle, and you're kind of like off the camera, like me, I was very safe. I was a D lineman, right? We don't get a lot of glory plays. And so it's just, it looks like patty cake, right? Because I'm not going to be hitting this dude like hard as hell for 50 times over, right? Especially when I'm getting paid $300, right? You know what I mean? So it was like, it was a lot of those long nights, but that was great. And you know, you got to pay your dues in the beginning, but that through Game Changing Films, because they got me all my jobs in the beginning, and they're still doing that for me. You gotta pay your dues, and it allows you to get health insurance, right? So like through SAG, I think you got to make, I don't know, like $27,000 a year to qualify for health insurance. And you'd be surprised at how difficult that can be sometimes. You know, there's a lot of actors who can't qualify for health insurance, and it gets scary. Like, you better not get sick. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of that, man. A lot of that in the beginning. But, you know, eventually, doing that gave me the opportunity and the in to eventually get a role on the show. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So like, it was like everybody was like pumped, you know, because there was kind of a stigma with the football players. It was like, all right, these guys are just like idiots. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even know how to speak or do anything like that, right? like just tell them to do the stunts. You know, it's weird, man. In Hollywood, there's a caste system, right? Like, you'll have some people come up and say, you know, you're an extra, you shouldn't be talking to the principal actors. It's like, man, you know, get out of here. Like, it makes me sick, honestly. Yeah. But that's how it goes. And so it was, I think this was like season 4, and it was a big deal. Like, hey, the casting came to Game Changing Films and was like, we have a couple roles for football players and actors. For the most part, how many times have you seen an actor in a sports movie that doesn't look like they could play sports, right? So they wanted a more authentic feel, and a bunch of us auditioned for the role, and I got it. And I wouldn't say that it was a role tailored to someone like me, but I got it. And it was a great opportunity, and that kind of opened the door for other football athletes to kind of read and audition for these shows, which is great. They're making it more authentic and real. So it was awesome, man. It's a stepping stone.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that opened the door for you to play Gronk in American Sports Story, Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
So how was that process for you, like playing Gronk? And what was it like?
I was in Vancouver at the time. I was doing motion capture for Gears of War, the video game, and I got this audition, and it was different because there were no lines or anything like that. It was like, okay, pretend you're Gronk celebrating with a friend at like a football banquet or something like that. And I was like, okay, that's easy. Gronk was a family friend of mine. I'd known him for like 10 years. You know what I mean? So I was like, I've partied with this guy a freaking 100 times. Like, this is a walk in the park. And prior to that, I did his first NFL kick of destiny. And I was his stunt double. Like, I think he's like training his leg or whatever. And there's a part in the commercial where his khaki shorts rip because his quad is getting so jacked. And so they used my leg for that, right? So like we had a bunch of like funny clips because Gronk likes to talk a lot of shit to my cousin, because they're really good friends. And so we'd get on set like recording videos clowning my cousin. And so I did the audition where I acted like him, and just knowing him for so long, you pick up his mannerisms. It's pretty easy. And then I threw in that clip as well of us hanging out on set together, and that was the kicker. And it was like, okay, yeah, there you go. He's the guy. You're in.
And the clip from the show went viral. It was all over. It was all over social media. Like,
yeah, right.
You killed it, man. You killed it.
It was crazy.
Can you still pull it off?
I haven't done it in a while. Yo, let's go, baby. It's Robbie G. Woo! It's a while. I haven't seen that guy in forever. But yeah, bro. I mean, I remember being on set and just doing that and feeling like a total idiot. Like, because you don't know if you're doing it right or if it looks good, and you're just like taking a chance, and then you got 40 other football guys in the locker room looking at me like, this guy's a freaking idiot, man. Like, what's he doing? Like, what? Just
you killed
like
it, man. You killed it.
But yeah, you really can't. You can't.
Yeah, no, it was solid. Was that your first time kind of learning about the Aaron Hernandez story?
The details of it. Yeah, I think when I was doing that show, I think I watched like a documentary, and obviously I did a lot of research into their relationship, right, at the time. So yeah, it was interesting. I just watched the Patriots Dynasty documentary. I don't know if you've heard about that. It came out, one of the really good documentary. But yeah,
I think it was on Max at one point.
Yeah. But it was it was a wild story, man. Wild. But yeah.
And then recently, you had an opportunity to be on the show Paradise, man. That was a hit Hulu show, man.
Yeah, I say all of 5 lines throughout the time.
That's huge, man. That's the opportunity to be around some of those actors that you had the opportunity to be around.
Yeah,
like, huge names in the industry.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the jobs I call a learning experience. I get paid to learn, which is great. I got to work a lot with Julianne Nicholson, and Sterling K. Brown, who was phenomenal. And I don't want to spoil it, but my last episode on the show, no season 2 for me. I got to watch him do a very highly dramatic scene where he crumples to the, like, gets some really bad news, crumples to the ground in tears. And I watched him do that 30 times, and just every time nailing it. And then I watched them go in, change some dynamics of the scene, and then do it again and again. And, you know, whenever you get a scene where it's like he falls to the floor weeping, like, you could easily make that look so bad and campy and over dramatic. And he's just a pro, man. He went in there and he did his thing every time, and it was real and it was intense. And so getting to work with that kind of high level actor is like, okay, that's where I need to go. Great, I got it. Okay,
That's dope, man.
you know,
Just
so.
to think about where you started and where your career's progressing to now, man.
Oh yeah, you know, and I remember, full circle, meeting that actor who was on Ballers in the audition room for the commercial. I was an extra on Ballers, you know, and I remember days where we would film in the Hollywood Mansion, and it was like a pool party, and I would be sitting in the pool watching, I can't remember his name, Denzel Washington's son, David Washington, maybe?
Yeah, I think what John David was.
Yeah. Watching him work in a scene and just like learning and picking it up, you know, because it's truly a blessing when you get to be on set and watch great actors work. So I was just like a sponge, man, soaking it all up. You know, I just try and learn as much as I can. I really enjoy learning, honestly.
Heck yeah. I don't know if you watched the Super Bowl this year, but I did. And I noticed a dope commercial.
Oh, yeah.
I saw you in the commercial, man. You got an opportunity. What was it, Duracell?
Yeah, you know, I've been getting that a lot. This guy, this Duracell scientist, he, everyone's saying that I look like this guy, but I don't know, man. I don't wear glasses.
Yeah, man, y'all look familiar, man. You got
It looks really familiar, but I gotta say, this guy, number one, I've never seen a scientist that jacked. Like, he looks phenomenal. I mean, you could probably put him on an NFL roster tomorrow. But yeah, he also a very good looking guy too. I gotta say that. But yeah, he was with Tom Brady, right?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to do a blood test because you guys look very familiar.
I don't know. You know, maybe the milkman showed up one day on my mom's door. I don't know, man. It was the resemblance is uncanny, really. Yeah, but I don't wear glasses, unfortunately. But yeah.
What was it like meeting Tom? Did you have an opportunity to interact with him on this?
You know, I have met Tom. He's a really great guy. Really down to earth. I actually he helped me a lot because I read his book. Can't remember the name of it, but it was all about muscle pliability and stuff like that. And so I you know, playing football as you get older, like, man, it starts to sink in. You know what I mean? Like, I've dealt with so many freaking body issues and stuff like that. And one of the biggest things I learned from him was all about like muscle pliability, and the best way to do that is like, and I do this every day now before I go to work out, if I'm doing upper body, I'll take the massage gun and I'll hit everything. If I'm doing lower body, I will take a vibrating foam roller and just kind of roll out everything in my legs, and same for my back with a vibrating sphere. And that vibration, like regular foam roller, it's great, but it really doesn't do much for you. Mm-hmm. Your muscles need that vibration to kind of release and get that pliability with the full range of motion. So I learned that from him. Also, hydration, man, it's huge. I mean, that guy, he looks like a freaking GQ model, and he's like 45 years old, you know? So, I don't know. He's doing it right, man.
Yeah.
He's doing it right,
yeah,
for sure.
Aging well.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
I got a crazy question. If
Yeah.
coming from your sports background,
Mm-hmm.
and now that you're, finding your lane as an actor, man, and growing every single year, I see you doing more and more.
Yeah.
What would mean the most to you? Having an opportunity to win a national championship or being on the stage, being a Oscar-winning actor?
Well, I went to a national championship. My freshman year of college, we had a badass team, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like for D1AA, probably 30 guys from that roster went on to the NFL to at least be in a mini camp, which is pretty unbelievable for D1AA. And we played Eastern Washington, and I want to say Cooper Kupp was on that team.
Yeah.
Dog. And we were up 20-0. Missed a field goal or an extra point. Would have been 21 at halftime, and then we lost that game 21-20.
Oh,
Brutal. Yeah, it was a long plane ride home. But so I had the opportunity to go to a national championship, and yeah, it's cool, But right now, I mean, winning an Oscar would be great. I don't know. I kind of operate on the principle of if you live by the adoration and encouragement of others, you're gonna die by their criticism, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, great. If I win an Oscar, awesome. If I ever got that opportunity, I would get Jesus in the mix, man, and I would just like preach over people, and not preach, but just share the love, because I think it's so important, and especially in those rooms, you gotta stand on something, man.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Being a believer in Hollywood, do you feel like sometimes it hinders people from getting different roles, or?
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
Maybe if it does, I don't know about it. I have no idea. But hey, you got to stand on something, right? So if I don't get those jobs, they weren't meant for me, But no matter what, the Lord has people everywhere, everywhere. So it doesn't matter, man. Eventually, He will open that door for me. And so if I don't get it, it's not meant for me.
Without a doubt. I love it.
So I mean, I just I had a big audition the other day. It was a really rough week. Lost out on a huge movie, and also had some stuff happen for a job that I did. Some of the spots that I did, they weren't going to run. So it was like somewhere near $100,000 swing in 1 week that I missed out on. And you see that and you're just like, oh, and you take it for a day and you sit in it, because we're human, right? And you gotta shake it off, right? And then you just keep moving, because if money's your ruler, you're gonna be a slave to it, right? Who's your ruler? Who's your Lord? What are you putting first in your life? And so if I prepared for the opportunity, I went in, I won the room, I did everything that I could have. It just came down to, I wasn't the proper size for the character, and that I'm cool with. There's nothing I could have done. So you leave it in His hands, and you know that He's getting ready to do something greater in your life.
Yeah.
So it's fine, So I don't really get discouraged. I call them something I do. I keep track of my auditions, and I upload them to YouTube, just unlisted, so you can't see them. I have thousands of auditions in there, and I didn't book thousands of jobs, right? But every time you step in front of the camera and you work it out, you're building more equity in you, and you are becoming better at your craft. So never look at it like, oh man, I didn't get that one and I got discouraged. It's like, no, I got better. I got better today, and that's going to serve me down the road. So, comes.
That's dope.
Yeah.
If you had the opportunity to orchestrate the perfect film, of course, with you starring in it, what would be your dream role and who would be directing it?
Gosh. I'm kind of ready to get out of the football realm, but I feel like I would kill the Tim Tebow biopic. You know what I mean? Like everyone thinks I look like him. But gosh, I've said this before. Eventually, what I want to do is I want to create like gritty Christian films. You know what I mean? Because, I'm sure you've had a walk with the Lord, and it's you've seen people and things where it's not cookie cutter like we see in Christian movies. It's just so, it can be so cheesy. You know what I mean?
Corny.
Yeah, and like I've seen like gangbangers and drug addicts come clean, and it's not like this honky-dory, you're saved and washed and it's all good. Like it's dirty, and it's got ups and downs. Like it's not a walk of faith, it's a fight of faith. And so I would like to tell those stories in a cool way without beating people over the head with them, because people got a problem getting preached at, and I understand that. And they have this perception of Christians who think they're holier than thou, and they're judging.
That's why I kind of hate some of those films as well. Yeah,
and condemning and stuff like that. And, like, I'm not perfect. Gosh, I still have so many issues and things that I'm trying to work out. So it's, we're all just kind of walking each other home, if you will. You know what I mean? So I want to kind of make content like that. I don't know how it's going to happen. I'm not much of a writer yet, but maybe that's something to be discovered. And I've always had this desire, because I've done some really radical things in my faith where I've seen crazy things. I've seen people healed, like I've seen miracles happen. I've seen people prophesy over me, telling me things about myself that there is no possible way that they would have known that, And so I would love to accurately film a worship session where like, I'm sure you've been in one where the Holy Spirit is just heavy, and like you can feel it. Like there's nothing like it, man. And to like put that on film, I would love to film something like that. That'd be cool.
Well, no, it's like the only hard part is you don't know when it's gonna happen.
Right.
That's the hardest part.
Right. Exactly.
But it's something that you can't even explain. You just talked about it, like when you break it down to people, they think you're lying. Yeah, and it's like well, I've gotten to the point now where I've witnessed crazy things happen. It's like, listen, you wouldn't believe me if I told you what happened. So I'm not gonna waste my time. But I'm a person. I don't know what your walk was like, but I was a person. I grew up in the church, but I never really believed in God. Like And then a few years ago, that's when I got serious. Like God came to me at my lowest moment in my life, and I dropped to my knees, and I'm like, man, if you get me out of this situation, like I'm in a situation where I'm going to be doing a long time in prison. And like I'll be honest, I did everything they said I did, and God got me out of that situation. He wiped the slate clean. It was like, I don't know if you ever seen Men in Black.
The little
and I'm like, yo, what's happening? Like, I was like, not like every investigation stops everything. I'm like, God, if you get me out of this situation, I'll worship you for the rest of my life. And that's what I've been doing, man. Like, and people like, I never tell anybody about what happened, of course, because of course that's still like, that's an open situation. It never got, but also like people wouldn't believe it if I told them. Right. So, but it's crazy to see some of the things that I've witnessed God do.
Yeah, man. I have a friend, high school friend, who's best friend of mine. I've known him since I was in middle school, like 6th grade. And I would have, and he's like a very intellectual guy. You know those types where like, where's the proof? Where's the proof?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's like, look around. And I would just keep pouring into him my faith and what I experienced and stuff like that. And you don't get it, man. And then I brought him to a Power and Love, which is my favorite pastor, Todd White. He does these events all over the country where it's 2 days of ministry where they speak to you, do sermons, and then you go out and evangelize. And by that, I mean like not like a Jehovah's Witness knocking on doors, but it's just like talking to people, sharing your faith, and, buying a homeless guy a meal, helping someone out, praying over people and stuff like that. And I took him there, and he had so many like mental issues. He was just like constantly nervous, full of anxiety, like just like, couldn't even catch his breath. He had to take all this medication and stuff like that. He was just very unsettled, and this is the first time I'd seen him in a while, and I was like, this is not my friend that I remember. Like, I don't know what's going on with him. And so I took him to a Power and Love, and it was wild. Like, it got so heavy, because when you're in that room, like it's so heavy that some people just can't handle it. You know what I mean? So he had to walk outside, and I'm in there worship, and like the tears are like coming down, and like this lady comes up and taps me on the shoulder. I'm like, yes. She's like, I think your friend is out there. He was asking for you. And I'm like, oh geez, like I hope he's okay. And I go out, and he's surrounded by like 5 strangers, and they're all praying over him. And he looks at me, and he's got this like this look in his eye that's totally different. It's clear, and it's like a weight lifted. And he says like, I've never experienced true love before, ever in my life, and I got it from these strangers. These people don't even know me, and they prayed over me, and I felt this electricity leave my hand, and I was vibrating so fast. And he got delivered from a demon, from demonic oppression.
Wow.
And it left his body, and I saw it. He was at ease, he was calm, he was like so peaceful. And it broke my heart, because he said he'd never experienced true love, and the first time he got it was from a bunch of Christians, like didn't know him, just prayed over him, and they were all smiling and hugging him and giving him love, and it was awesome, And I don't know, I can't even remember why I just told that story, but yeah,
that's dope, man. Shoot. Just
Yeah.
the power of God when he moves, man.
Yeah, so when you see that stuff, and then you go back to your job, and it's like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like I used to be so entrenched in working. Like I would work every day, 7 days a week, because I was so hungry to make it. And I remember my motto for my first year in LA was, I won't fall asleep if I keep moving. Like I would work that hard, and I would just grind. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I mean, of course you want to like approach everything that you do as if you're working for him, because you work so that you may be able to give something, right? But after seeing stuff like that, it's like I would much rather have a God talk with a homeless man than film a movie with an A-lister.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And I do this with myself a lot, especially around like the biggest things in my life that come up, like the biggest blessings. And I was like, and I asked myself, would you walk away from it all? And I go, yeah, like that. You know, it's kind of like that movie Heat. If you feel the heat coming around the corner, you got to be able to walk away from everything in 30 seconds or flat. Could you do it? You know, and it's like, who's number one in your life, right? What do you make Lord over your life? Money, fame, power, or God, right? So it's just kind of how I like to do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
My last question is a fun question, since you've had the opportunity to know Gronk and play him on the show. In your opinion, you hear the debate for the greatest tight end of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's between Gronk and Travis Kelce. Everybody has their different opinions, but who do you have?
So they're two different players. Like, obviously Travis is more of a receiving tight end. Gronk is a fantastic receiving tight end, but also he is a feared blocker. I mean, that guy just freaking puts people on their butts, man. But I don't think you're ever going to catch that record. What was it, 12 touchdowns in a season by a tight end? I don't know if you're going to catch that. Also, Gronk won, was it 3 Super Bowls? Maybe 4? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think Travis is right there with 3.
He's getting there.
But he's also towards the end, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you see he's slowing down a lot now.
Well, he was debating whether or not he'd come back this year, right? So I don't know, man. Gronk's a badass. I mean, he can catch, he can block. You know, he's won the titles. I mean, I think you got to give it to him.
Yeah, I agree. Just from him being an all-around player, like that's just.
And he wasn't even healthy, bro. Like throughout his career, the knee, the forearm, like back issues. Even in college, he had to sit out a year because he had brutal back problems. Like I don't think he rarely played healthy. You know what I mean? And that's ridiculous. So I got to give it to him. No disrespect to Travis, he's incredible.
He's a great player, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But shoot, man, I appreciate you taking the time out to pull up on us, man.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing, just following your journey, getting to know you, and just seeing how you've grown. Like since since that moment when I was able to meet you, I see you doing more and more. And we have opportunity. We've been trying to set this up for a while now. Yeah. But it's a blessing to know every time I hit you up, I'm on this gig, I'll get with you next time. And I like hearing that. Most people, like, it's weird in this space. Like, I like connecting myself around genuine people.
Yeah.
So when you tell me you get an opportunity, it's like, no, that's a blessing. Don't worry about anything going on over here. We'll catch up later. And if we never catch up, that means you're busy. That means you're busy. Like, and that's a blessing for me, because I've seen you, like, I know you're a genuine person. Yeah. And then not only that, like, you're a person in the industry. Like, God is using you to spread His love, to spread His message. Yeah. So that's more important than anything, So when you tell me you're busy and all those things, and I get to see you continuously get opportunities, I say, look at God working. So, man, I appreciate you pulling up.
Dude, of course, bro. Thank you so much for having me. This was great, man. I love it. Trials of triumph, baby.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's how we do.
Man, you know me, huge Patriots fan. So having the closest thing you can have to Gronk inside of the building without actually having Gronk was pretty sick. And I mean, we say this about every guest, but Laith was a great guy, super chill, super nice dude. Spent more time than he needed to. Just
we only bring good guys in the studio.
Exactly. So that's kind of a given, but spectacular episode. Make sure to check out the socials and stuff like that. He's going to do some cool stuff moving forward too. He talks a little bit about that in the episode. But going straight into the craziness of NBA playoffs. I mean, we discussed it last week. We didn't know if the Knicks had any more fight in them, and then they ended up getting a game, which was nice. But the finals matchup now is the Pacers versus the Thunder, which is insane.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming. I thought that the Celtics would make it back again this year. Mm-hmm. I was hoping for a Wolves and Celtics matchup. I thought that would have been dope.
That would be cool.
But
the ghost of Kevin Garnett,
the Thunder, man, right now they just have too much. I'm rooting for the Pacers because they got my guy Tony Bradley on the team. But just looking at the Thunder, man, they're deep.
Yeah, I was watching a couple clips this morning. Eating breakfast, and someone was talking about. He was on the Dan Le Batard show, so I can't remember what his name was, but he was talking about how the Thunder are just the Pacers but better. Mm-hmm. And then he laid it out. He's like, "Oh, the Pacers have a shot blocking big, they can shoot threes, but then the Thunder have Chet Holmgren who can do all of that, but also play make and do all the other things." They're like, "Oh, you have a scrappy little white guard that'll come off the bench and play defense." Well, they have Alex Caruso, who's a former NBA champion, and all around defensive beast. So it'll be a good matchup. I think that the Pacers take a game or two off them.
I think if a gentleman's sweep, get them a 5.
Yeah, exactly. I think I even put that in Hard Rock 4-1. So, but that'll be a good matchup. I'm excited to see how those teams perform against each other. Well, we didn't talk about this before we made the rundown, but NHL playoffs.
You got that matchup.
Starts Wednesday. Oilers, Panthers.
Yeah,
it'll be really fun. I think the Oilers have what it takes to get it done this year.
I'm actually lock in and watch it.
It should be good. I mean, especially in the playoffs. Just some. In my experience, they traded for Marchand, the Panthers, who was a huge. Like, if you're from Boston, that was a huge blow. He was our captain of our team, of the Bruins. Like, he was a scrappy dude. People hated him. Not in Boston, but everybody else hates him because he's known as one of those dudes throws an extra jab in there and bites people. But the Panthers, who are generally known as the team that is extremely scrappy and willing to play the puck until it's dead. Mm-hmm. They added him. So it's that's the X factor in this matchup in my head is they just added the only player that I can think of in the league that would heighten their ability to be scrappy. But I think that Edmonton they retooled their other lines, their second and third line, and so I think it's going to be close. It's going to be a close series. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes Game 7, but my hope is the Oilers take it.
Yeah.
More news this week. Madden cover.
Oh, yeah.
Saquon. Shout out Jaguars fans.
That junk is tough, man. Jaron Jones, Florida State guy. He had a solid rookie season, man, and that's it sucks. That's what a lot of fans are going to know him for.
I mean,
he balled out last year.
That's, yeah. The Madden, I'm sure it was probably because of the Jaguars or the NFL, but Madden graciously took that logo out of the cover, so it's not technically the Jaguars.
Yeah.
But everybody knows the Jaguars. It's like I believe you said in the Benji episode, when Ryan Garcia beat Devin Haney, it's it doesn't matter that you're on PEDs, but
yeah.
We know what happened. We saw what happened.
Yeah.
The way they shot that, the picture was really cool too, where it was all in a studio and.
They kind of freaked out the internet yesterday with the video. It was hold on, did he stay in the air this long? But
in this office, that was the end of our day yesterday because Andy, the guy he owns Indie Atlantic Films, he talked about. He was like, "Did you guys see it? It looks like he hangs in the air." And me and Matt both thought that it was a ramp up in the video. They slowed it down and they ramped it back up, and then it was later last night, and Matt sent a video and you could see there's cables.
Okay.
So he was on cables, and that's why it was able to hang for a second, and they can get a really dope, cool shot. But it freaked me out too because
I thought they ramped it up at first. I didn't know he was on cables.
Yeah, I thought it, and in my head I was like, damn,
it makes sense.
Saquon's just that dude.
If he would have been jumping, because if he was just jumping the whole, I think they're probably shooting 20 plus times.
It probably would.
His legs would have got so burnt up.
Yeah. It didn't. Thinking about it now, it makes so much more sense. Last week, we also got more info about College Football 26. Shout out to Guy Bordeaux.
Yeah. Out there in the Rose Bowl again. Shoot, Jeremiah Smith. He should get no
Ryan
lower
Williams.
than Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, Tebow,
Shoelace.
Legends out there. Kirby Smart.
Exactly. He has a great opportunity out there, growing the flow out a little bit. You can see.
I think he's gonna. It would be good for him to kind of branch off into that because he's already known for college football.
Yeah.
So getting these interviews with these college football legends and coaches, I think that'll work for him.
That'll be a cool opportunity. He was also, got to play test the game. You see him, other guys like RBT and Bengal, who are two YouTubers. There was more, but those are the two YouTubers that I probably watching those, as well as Bordeaux. They all got a chance to test it, and basically all of them were like, if you liked college football 25, you'll love 26 because they listened to you and they changed a bunch of stuff. And I mean, you were just talking about Road to Glory, about how it looks like it might be in a better spot.
Yeah, they brought high school back, and I'm guessing you get to play like 5 full games. From what I'm seeing, you get to play 5 full games, and from every game you get to choose clips for your highlight tape. You get 4 moments from every game that you get to put on your highlight tape, and so based on how good your highlight tape, that'll dictate which offers that you get. So I'm like, okay, that sounds kind of dope.
That's super cool. Yeah, that's that'll make it 10 times more fun. I think that was the toughest part too about when you play. The last one is like you just kind of go in cold, and you had to pick like your star value and stuff like that. So if they could tie star value to that too, that would be sweet.
You get to choose your star value, and if you don't perform every week, it goes down.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
It can also go up though.
I was gonna say what would be really cool is if you start as a 0-star and then you have like you just play that game amazingly, like those games amazingly, and then you get all the way bumped up to like a higher 4, 5 star.
That's what I would probably try to do.
Yeah. It just adds a whole new layer. The cover art for that one too, I think we talked about it a little bit last week, but it was sick.
So many with NIL now. I don't know how many covers they're gonna be. They're trying to get everybody some money, man.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing too, is like there's the big cover where it's like everybody, like mascots, coaches. You see James Franklin in there. You see the Duck from Oregon. You get players, and then there's the other one where it's like Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams like hanging out, almost like that Pat Mahomes Tom Brady cover where it's like the 2 goats. It's like those are the two big players in college football right now.
Do you think Jeremiah Smith gets a 99 rating?
I'm hearing like from what I've heard around the game, like they're seriously considering giving him a 99, Ryan Williams like a big number.
I say Ryan Williams, I would give a 95 or 96.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah Smith, 99.
I'll say, like, coming from the last college football, the ratings were insane. So it's like it makes sense if they gave Jeremiah Smith a 99 if they were going by the pass rating system. Because it's like you would load in Cam Rising would be like an 88. And, like, I like Cam Rising. But he's not an 88. Or, like, Shadur was like a 96. Which, like, Shadur, great college player. But
there was a lot of hype coming off that following year, so it made sense. But if that's the case, Jeremiah should be 99.
Oh, 100%. Like, no question. That's the only one I can think of, too, that should be a 90.
EA is not as strict either with the 99 ratings in college, but they are in Madden. Definitely.
It's like a whole exclusive club in Madden.
Yeah.
In college, I think in college football, it's harder to get a 99, or like it would be not harder to get a 99, but like throughout, like if you're playing Dynasty or if you're doing other stuff, it's harder to have someone develop into a 99. But it's like they're more willing to give high 90s out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. People keep saying that Jeremiah Smith next year will be like 100 overall. Remember like back in the day where they'd give like players 100s.
I thought Sammy Watkins was amazing his freshman year. Jeremiah Smith is on a whole different level.
Oh yeah. Just to some like inside baseball like dynasty draft. So I'm in a dynasty league. I just did my dynasty draft. We can talk about that maybe in a second actually. But I am stocking up on 2027 draft picks because Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith will both be in that draft more than likely for my draft.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So it's like Jeremiah Smith's the guy. Like if people are saying if he came out this year, if he comes out next year, if he comes out the year after,
if he would have came out last year,
he would be like yeah. That like I can't think of the last time there was a pick in the number 1 slot that he would be picked over. He's just so good. The only thing that could stop him is injury.
Yeah, that's it.
And like the way his body's built, I don't see.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
No. But dude, yeah, I'm super excited for college football. I'm also super excited for Madden. I get that both those games every year. Well, college football I'll get this year, and next year, and next year.
I think them making college football, bringing it back, forces them to improve Madden as well. So it's just better for everybody.
Well, and it's like they just feel different too. That's the thing that's tough. Is like when I play college football and I go to Madden, it's like almost hard to go there because college football feels like almost a more complete game, which is weird to say.
I always thought college football was better, even when I never played Madden until they stopped making college football. I always thought it was better.
Oh, I would agree. I think the only thing that like Madden helps for me is like because I can play with my team. You know, I don't have a college football team, so it's like I have to just kind of adopt players.
That makes sense.
But you know, kind of shifting away from video games and going to real life, we both talked about R-Truth this morning getting released from the WWE. You had a good theory that maybe it was, you know, kind of something that was already in the works because, you know, he did just main event with John Cena in the shows that were happening in the Yuengling Center here in Tampa. I mean, say what you want about R-Truth. He's one of my favorite wrestlers growing up just because of the comedic relief.
Yeah, he's...
You know?
I didn't think he would last that long in the WWE. So it's like just to see his career and how he's been able to last over 20 years, that's dope.
Also, he has one of the most electric entrances. You know, when he raps from the crowd, "What's up? What's up? What's up?" Yeah. You know, like he was super fun. That era of him when he was like with CM Punk and all that stuff. Like that was when I was deep into watching wrestling as a kid. So yeah, every time I go back into wrestling, like I was always like, R-Truth still there? You know, like how is he still there and this person's not there? And this person's not wrestling anymore. But I mean, he's getting older and he really is just like they put him in. He works every time. Like they put him in a faction and he makes it better. They put him in a main event, he makes it better. You know.
Like what? 53 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
he's older.
Oh.
He's older for a wrestler. I mean, like you see people doing it into their late 50s now, but still, you know, he also had like a career before WWE. I mean, he was like in a Ring of Honor, which is like the California promotion. That's where like the CM Punk came from, and he was one of their champions. Okay. You know, he was in NWA. Like he was in all these other wrestling promotions beforehand. So it's like he was a world champion in those. Like that was when he was like taken serious as like a face of wrestling. And then we went to the WWE. You know, they do what the WWE does, and they make him like a comedic relief and do all that stuff. But he killed it. Like he just had so many levels. So it's sad to see him go. But if he stays with WWE in like a producer role, or if he goes to another company,
keep him in some type of you know,
either that or AEW or something like that. Like he'll still be around. You know. Yeah. In the news of rap, Carter 6 comes out this weekend. We were just talking about the Carters and how you haven't listened to the Carter 5.
Yeah, Carter 4 is the last one. Yeah.
But I personally, I don't know if it was just came out in the right time, but Carter 5 came out when I was like a junior in college. So it was it was just like the perfect timing, and there were some really good songs on that. Lil Wayne, probably one of my favorite rappers of all time. Just grew up with him. Carter 3, Carter 4. Saw him in concert a few times.
Wayne a legend, man.
Oh yeah, should have been the halftime performance.
Yeah,
halftime performance is good, but you should, if you're in New Orleans, Lil Wayne needs to be the guy. Shifting to fights, we talked about the Caleb Plant fight before.
Yeah, and, that was man, seeing him lose, that kind of kills things. I thought we were gonna get that Charlo Caleb Plant matchup just because, you know, the beef behind the scenes. But now it's like, does that fight even happen? Does it make sense?
It's a weird, like I was watching a lot of Caleb Plant interviews before the fight, just kind of getting myself hyped for it, and he didn't seem worried. Like it was one of those, I think he almost fell flat. But I guess the guy he faced, I'm still getting into, you know, boxing, the nitty gritty of it. I know the big names, but the guy he faced, I guess, was going in an interview beforehand. He was like, the difference between me now and then is I have a kid. He's like, I've got dad strength.
Yeah.
So I guess Caleb Plant must have underestimated his dad's strength, and he just let it get to him. I genuinely didn't think that was going to happen. For a dude who took it to Canelo for a good amount of time with Caleb Plant. You don't see that often. But I guess he is one of those dudes that, like, if he's not winning in the beginning, he has a hard time coming back. So, sticking on the topic of fighting, Keyshawn Davis is fighting this weekend. And that should be fun. I'm trying to remember who he's fighting. Edwin De Los Santos.
That'll be a good fight.
That'll be a great fight.
Yeah, Keyshawn, I think it's going to be a good fight for a while, but then in the end, Keyshawn's going to separate, and I think he gets a TKO. He finishes him, I'd say, maybe 9th or 10th.
Keyshawn Davis is probably one of my more favorite fighters to watch now that I've jumped back into boxing. He's a great entertainment, but also that's a great fight, like you said. It's in Virginia, which I'm pretty sure Keyshawn's from.
Yeah, he's a Virginia guy, man. I think from Norfolk, so yeah. I see him getting a stoppage in the 9th or 10th.
So it's actually in Norfolk, Virginia. So it's like
he got to go all out.
He's gonna try his hardest. We got Wardley versus, I believe it's Huni, for the interim heavyweight title for WBA. That's in Ipswich, United Kingdom, on DAZN. Wardley's a dog. Just plain and simple. Listening to an interview of him last week, I didn't know. Again, I'm like jumping back into boxing. I've watched Pacquiao and Mayweather and all that stuff, but I haven't really watched a lot of these other heavyweight fighters, other divisions. He's a entertaining fighter, just talking. So I'm excited to see. I'll be at a wedding for all these, but maybe I'll be popping in and out trying to watch him. But that should be an exciting fight. Jayo Pataya is also fighting. That'll be in London, so that's pretty cool, and that's for the cruiserweight title, which Usyk formerly held. But Pataya is like the next big thing in that division.
Okay.
He's a very good fighter. I think he's from New Zealand or Australia, somewhere in that area. And then Brandon Moore.
Yeah, Polk County guy, man, Lakeland, Florida. Yeah, he Brandon Moore's story is dope to watch. He got in the boxing late, was a basketball guy. Got in the boxing late, signed with Top Rank a few years ago. Took his first loss last year. And, since then he's been on a mission just trying to, prove himself and get back to the top so he can get a major fight, And so I'm excited about this one. This is an opportunity for him to prove himself, and I'm looking forward to it. He's a dog. He works hard, so it's a perfect opportunity to take advantage.
Yep, and that'll be for the IBF USBA heavyweight title against Stanley Wright, who's a 14-0 fighter. We both know that amounts of fight records in boxing don't really mean too much, but two heavyweights having 15-1, 14-0 records, usually that means something. And it's in Verona, New York, at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino on DAZN. So I'm going to be trying my hard. Actually, it's this Friday, so I might be able to watch that one. But I'm going to be trying my hardest watching all of those fights, as well as UFC this weekend. We've got a major card.
Okay.
New Jersey. It's Merab versus Sugar Sean O'Malley 2, from the Sphere.
Who you got?
Dude. I've been a huge Merab fan and a huge Sugar Sean fan since getting into the UFC. Sugar Sean's a knockout artist. You see him turn the lights out.
That's one of my favorite fighters to watch right now.
Exactly.
Outside of John Jones.
Oh, yeah. Scoring those flash knockouts, doing walk-off knockouts, cool, calm,
got that
collected.
Swag, man.
But he stumbled twice in his career. The one was because of injury against Cheeto, and he got that loss back. This time, Merab kind of handled him. Does he get the loss back this time? He's kind of changed his mentality, completely changed the way he thinks about his own life. I love Merab. He's just a workhorse. He's a cardio machine. He doesn't understand how to stop. He posted a video of him with a broken toe in the fight camp, and everybody's like, "Is he pulling out? Is he pulling out?" If someone asked Sugar Sean, "Do you worry about him pulling out?" and he's like, "No." He's like, Merab's a machine. His name is the Machine for a reason. He's gonna keep going, keep pushing forward.
Hey, you gotta kill somebody like that in the ring. That's the only way that's the only way they're stopping.
It's kind of insane. He's one of those dudes he's just gonna keep going no matter what. There is another title fight on that card, Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison for the UFC Women's Bantamweight title. Pena, I don't know if you watch too much UFC, but Pena is known for submitting Amanda Nunes, the women's GOAT.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen Nunes fight. I'm not familiar with it.
And she's the current champion because she won the belt back. She beat Amanda, she lost to Amanda, and then she won the belt from someone else. But Kayla Harrison is an insane fighter. She's a world beater. She's a judo champion. I believe she's a judo gold medalist in the Olympics. She was in the PFL, which is the other fighting promotion where you can win $1 million if you win the tournament. She won it twice. So
is the PFL, is that Jake Paul's thing? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
PFL, Jake Paul is partnered with the PFL. I don't ever think we'll actually see him fight in MMA, but you never know.
Marketing.
Him and Ngannou are like the faces of that organization, even though they've never, like, Ngannou's fought, but I don't know if he'll fight there again.
Okay.
But no, Kayla Harrison, on paper, Kayla Harrison should win, similar to how Merab should win. But you can't ever count Juliana Pena out. She's an all-around dog. Other fights that I'm excited for: Joe Pyfer versus Kevin Gastelum supposed to happen in Mexico, but Pyfer got sick, so they moved it to this card. Mario Bautista versus Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix is a similar situation to Kayla Harrison, where he was a champion in Bellator and PFL. He gets released from his contract like 3 or 4 months ago, 2-3 months ago. Mario Batista is supposed to fight Chito Vera, the guy who lost to Sugar Sean, but also beat him before. Like, he's a stalwart in the bantamweight division. And Chito gets hurt, so he pulls out. Patchy Mix accepts the fight on like a month notice. So it'll be cool. Patchy Mix is legitimately probably one of the best bantamweights in the world. And he's coming in and fighting like a top 10 guy in the UFC. It's like, there's levels to this, but he might be the perfect person to to get around those levels. But all in all, like, I'm just a very fun card. There's nothing like UFC in front of a crowd.
Yeah, no. What are your thoughts on Tio and Haney signing a deal?
Oh yeah, the rumored deal that Tio and Haney signed. The first thing I saw or thought of when I saw that was like, oh shit, like Tio performed so well in that weekend that he like went around everybody, you know, like that'll be.
Yeah,
because he was, there was rumors of him fighting Boots Ennis. There's rumors of him fighting all of these guys, trying to get him another title. But Devin Haney, I mean, that's just gonna be a fun fight.
Yeah, no, they've been going at it for years. People have been wanting to see this fight for years. I'm not mad at the fight. The only thing that I'm thinking about is, man, I thought of course Ryan lost to Roley.
I thought they were gonna just do it,
but I thought they were still gonna do it. It's like, man, even though you got your old back, Haney, like you got your old back, everybody's still seeing you get like. So for me, it's like, nah, I gotta get some get back. That's me in my mindset if I'm Haney. So maybe they get it back later. Who knows? But I would have been trying to get it back right now.
No, 100%. Devin Haney's one of those dudes. Like, I always respected him as a fighter. I still respect him as a fighter. But like you said, ever since that Ryan Garcia fight,
yes,
there's a lot less of an itch for me to turn his fights on. You know, until he's fighting Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
You know, like he. Although this is the first one.
I watched Tio, but I didn't. Outside of that,
I was going to say this is the first one that like sparks my interest. You know, I didn't care who he fought last time. I thought he was going to smash him.
Yeah.
You know, I was worried. Honestly, out of the 3 fights that day, or that in that Times Square card, Ryan's was the one that I was the most worried about. You know,
the worst thing Ryan could have did coming off a year layoff was fighting Roley, and we saw
Roley's good.
Man, Roley's powerful. He's strong, and we saw a disciplined Roley. That's the first time I saw a disciplined Roley in the ring. Roley discipline. He gives a lot of fighters trouble because everybody was taking advantage of. Think about the Tank fight. Rolly being undisciplined and impatient cost him in that fight.
Yep.
Same with Pitbull. We saw Rolly be disciplined for the whole entire fight. Like we thought the whole entire time, I'm seeing him dominate Ryan Garcia, and in my mind, I'm like, all right, eventually Rolly. We know Rolly. He's gonna slip eventually. He never slipped.
No, he was good, and I think honestly, as sad as it is to say, Ryan Garcia is the best person to see that from him, because you see Ryan Garcia untangle in fights more often than not. He usually wins them, but he'll I mean, like in the Tank fight, he looked great coming out the gate, and then he gets crumbled. That's another fight that I'm extremely excited for, is Tank Roach 2.
Yeah,
which is I believe this fall.
I don't think the second one close.
You don't think so? You think Tank's gonna win?
Yeah, I think Tank's gonna win.
I don't know.
I think it's gonna be a good. I don't think the second one's close though.
You think so? I thought there was a lot.
I thought Roach was better than I thought he was. I'm not gonna lie, but I just think Tank is gonna be locked in. I think, even though I believe Tank had a level of respect for him, I think Tank kind of went into that fight just how Caleb Plant went into his last fight. He just knew he was gonna win. And he was planning out his next fights.
That makes sense.
And I think that's what got him.
I would see that, but I also would see that. I don't know. Roach just looked so sharp. I definitely see both sides. I wouldn't be surprised if it's starching on Davis' side.
If Roach had a lot of power, then it would worry me. The fact that he don't got power, I think that we need to take into account is like maybe he might have power. It's just Tank's never gotten hit. And they know each other so well.
They spar. So it's like the X factor is so high in that fight, because it's like they know each other so insanely well. And you've got, Roach was like a judge's decision away from, breaking the internet.
I thought Roach won the fight.
I did too. When it was a draw, right?
Yeah.
And when they announced a draw, I was like, what? I'm watching the fight the whole time being like, there's so much bullshit in that fight too.
The boxing politics, man.
Like with
this boxing politics, they couldn't let Tank lose that fight.
I agree.
They
had
so much money on the table.
But there's so much stuff in that fight too, like when he has like Vaseline in his eye and he goes and gets a towel.
You never see that happen.
That's in most commissions like not even close to allowed. It wasn't allowed there, but they didn't do anything. The knockdown that wasn't a knockdown. Like there's so much stuff. Like if that knockdown's counted.
Yeah, he wins.
Like
even
Roach
with that,
wins.
I feel like he still should have won.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, we've seen it since the beginning of the time.
Yeah.
Boxing, and not just boxing in general. When a lot of people, decision makers, powerful people who got money on the line.
Yeah.
They're gonna do a little few things under the table to make sure.
Boxing especially. Boxing is known as the most corrupt sport for a reason. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Roach is probably the easiest one to. I don't even know what the odds are right now, but I would be surprised if he's a favorite or even close to a favorite.
Yep.
I feel like I can't remember the last time Tank went into a fight and wasn't like minus 500 at least.
Because everybody just thought by round 10 he was gonna have a knockout.
Yeah, and
it didn't happen. I think just Roach's style gave Tank a lot of issues. I do believe Tank responds to this fight and dominates. Don't get me wrong, Roach is gonna get his as well, but I think Tank shows that he's a superior fighter in this fight.
Yeah.
He comes in locked in. But it'll be interesting if Roach shocks the world. Hey, I'm a Roach fan, man. I already love how he's going about business, anyways.
There's been a few fighters in the last year jumping back into boxing that have really impressed me. Roach was the first one. Tank Davis was one of those dudes I would turn the TV on for, even when I wasn't watching boxing.
Yeah.
Watched the Garcia fight, watched all those fights. But we'll see how it goes.
Tank's coach, Kenny Ellis, he said last year that Tank's the most complete fighter in boxing, and he's never fought anybody because everybody thinks he's just a knockout artist. He's never fought anybody that made him actually have to box in the ring. Well, maybe Lamont Roach is that guy, so maybe we get the best version of Tank Davis this fight.
Yeah, and honestly, like it'll just be a good fight. I'm just excited for that fight. I'm honestly like kind of hoping that it goes in like a fashion where you can get a trilogy out of it. Just because the trilogy no one knew they wanted or asked for is usually the one that is the best. Watching this past fight card, talking about Caleb Plant, I want to give this guy his flowers because I'd never heard of him I think he was a huge favorite. But Yoenli Hernandez, have you heard of him? He's 8-0 with 7 knockouts, and he completely dominated in his fight. He was he was the one before Carlo.
Okay.
And he won a middleweight title. He's a Cuban guy, insanely good fighter.
How old is he?
I can't even remember. I think he's 27.
Okay.
I can look that up real quick. But he was super entertaining, and he at the end was doing the pointing down on the canvas come here, do this, let's do this, and then he would just pop 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 pop, and he was the other guy was so tired that you couldn't.
I missed the whole fight, and I forgot that it even came on. Then I came back and watched the highlights later, but I gotta check him out.
No, he was super entertaining, especially on that card where Carlos' fight was entertaining. The Plant fight wasn't super entertaining. Yoenli Hernandez, 27 years old.
Okay.
Fighting out of Miami, so, but I think he's Cuban. And I think that was the first fight that hasn't gone to decision for him, or hasn't been KOs for him or retirement. So it's that was his first decision fight, and it was super entertaining. He was going for it the whole time.
All right.
But no, I mean, that's kind of the recap. That's everything. I can't think of anything else. Can you think of anything else, Freddie?
Nah, man. Outside of that, we got the community event this Saturday coming up, Mulberry, Florida. Make sure you guys come out, show love, have a great time. 310 Kid Ellis Road, Mulberry, Florida. Come out with us, have a great time. Gonna have food for the kids, food for the families, school supplies, backpack giveaways, bounce houses, train rides, a lot of different stuff, man. So make sure y'all come out and have a great time.
Oh, that'll be a great time. I'm excited to hear how it goes next week. Yeah, I think that's everything. I want to thank our sponsors, Garnet and Gold, Craig Burke Realty, Concord Coffee, and Indie Atlantic Films. Thank you for supporting as always. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.